Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my series. Today, I'll be talking about sexual sin. It's an interesting topic, and I hope you would learn a lot and abide with the Word of God, abide with the truth, and flee sexual immorality. I hope this blesses you. Sexual sin is a sin against the flesh. It's, it's done for pleasure, but it actually leads to destruction. And it's prevalent in our world today. Is when a person indulges in sex with either a man or a woman for pleasure, when the person is not his or her wife or husband. So I hope this gives a simple understanding of what it is. There has to be marriage for it not to be a sin. Sex was designed for those that are married. When we look at the Bible, we can see it clearly that God made Eve for Adam, and it went on like that. You were supposed to be people who were committed to being with each other, that people were allowed to enjoy the benefit of sex. But today it's abused. A lot of people misunderstand the essence of sex and the importance it has in our lives. Sexual sin actually makes people weaker. It makes the man indulging in the act to be weaker, and the woman as well becomes weaker. It reduces their value. It makes them less of themselves. They struggle in different ways. Some of them might not be obvious, but some can be obvious. So it actually makes those who indulge in them to be weaker. Guess what? Poverty is prevalent in sexual sin. Where there's sexual sin, you notice that because those people have lost the value of themselves, they've lost their value to a reasonable extent, they also lose their ability to do things that can help them, to do things that can help their lives. They lose one of the essence of their lives, and which eventually leads to poverty. Poverty financially, poverty in their minds, poverty in their souls, poverty in the way they act, the way they think, because they've lost value. This is one of the things that occur when there's sexual sin. One who is not observant might not notice them, but when you carefully notice, you see that actually things go wrong with those people. And sexual sin starts from the heart. It starts from the heart. It starts from what are your thoughts. People think that they can allow some thoughts and it's not a sin. That's a lie. Some thoughts actually the seed that leads to sin, and so it's sin itself. Looking at a woman and lusting after her, or looking at the man and lusting after him, imagining some corrupt thoughts, making some evil thoughts come to your mind, it brings about sexual sin. It leads to sexual sin. And it's prevalent because someone might think that they are not sinning in that process, but that is what births the sin. That's the foundation of the sin, and so it is sin itself. That's why we have to be watchful about our thoughts. What we see influences our thoughts. And I'll discuss about this more in the coming episode. But you have to be careful about what are you allowing in, what are you allowing into your mind, because that's where sexual sin actually starts from. You watch some movies, you listen to some audio, listen to some perverted speech, and you begin to dwell on it and begin to process it in a way that your mind becomes affected. It becomes contagious. It perverts your mind, and then you might find yourself actually wanting that, which now leads to the sexual sin. So the thoughts of your heart actually bring about that lust. The lust that seems like it's difficult for you to break from, it comes from the heart. It starts from the heart. I know this. So you have to be careful about what you're allowing to your heart. In Matthew 15, 19 to 20, it says, "For out of the heart proceed evil thoughts, murders, adulteries, fornications, thefts, false witness, blasphemies. These are the things which defile a man, but to eat with unwashed hands does not defile a man." That was Jesus speaking there. And I was talking to those listening. I was trying to explain to them that these are the things that actually defile a man, things that actually make a man weaker, are the things that were listed there. And he mentioned adulteries, fornications. These are the things he said defile a man. And they come from thoughts. What thoughts are you allowing into your mind? So you have to be careful what you think about. What do you accept in your heart? You have to be careful so that you not find yourself falling into sin and don't know how you fell into it. Your thoughts are important, and you have to guard them. You have to guard them so that you will not fall away from the truth. Sexual sin can be any of the following. It can be masturbation. Yes, masturbation is something that brings about sexual sin. It's out of lust that it comes. Lust for people. And it's actually sexual sin. When you think you're not offending anyone, or you're not defiling anyone in the process, you're defiling yourself. And it makes you weaker. We have adultery, fornications. Adultery is having sex outside your marriage or someone's marriage. It can be also having sex with someone you're not married to. Also having sex with a person who is married. Fornications mainly deals with people who are married having sex with each other. And sex doesn't only involve the normal sex that we all know about. It involves different things. What do you do to gain that pleasure? That evil pleasure. So you have to think deeply. What are the things that actually lead to you falling for sexual sin? You also have pedophilia, that's lusting after children, which is a disgusting sexual activity, as all the other sexual activities which are done in sexual sin. You have bestiality, same sex, lusting after each other, same sex, marriage, lesbianism, the LGBTQ movement happening now, they all fall under sexual sin, and God hates them. In the Bible, we can see that every sin is committed outside the body, but sexual sin is committed against the body. It's committed against yourself. So you sin against yourself. You sin against the person you indulge. Any person that indulges in having sex with. And it brings you down, it makes you weaker. So what is that pleasure? Why has the pleasure become so important when it brings so much damage? You have to consider this. Is it actually worth it? When you do those things, is it worth it? You do it and you destroy yourself in the process. Is it worth it? None of these sins glorify God. They make any person who does them weaker, and they do not glorify God. It only makes God to be unhappy with our acts. After He has forgiven us, we go back to that dirty lifestyle. That's for those who indulge in such. There's no profit to it. It only brings about destruction. Look at our world today and see it for yourself. See it for yourself and see that these things are not worth it. Is it pornography? Is it worth it? No. I have so many personal experiences that I know that eventually I will share to bless people. There are things that could have been avoided, but lust was involved. And it started from the heart. Because sexual sins, I've said, it starts from your thoughts. What are you thinking? What's in your heart? People say mistakes is common with humans. But there's some mistakes you can avoid. There are some. And we should avoid them. You don't have to be weaker. You don't have to be less of yourself. You don't have to be frustrated. You don't have to have so many memories to wish never happened. But it starts with a step. You need to make that step. Are you going to continue sexual sin or not? That's if you are in it already. And if you are not, would you fall to it? Or would you keep the pious way? Would you keep the righteous way? I urge you to keep the righteous way, because with sexual sin, there's only regret, I promise you. Whether for you or for those around you. Because it doesn't only affect you, it affects those in your circle, those who care for you. So think about this deeply. Think about it deeply and see that it's not worth it. The pleasure is not worth it. You have that pleasure and it's gone, but the consequence remains. Wow. God is really good. But if you give yourself to God and begin to follow His path, I promise you the consequence, even if you have been in it before, it will be mitigated. God will give you mercy to come out. Some of them will be like scars that would heal but will not clear, because the memories will stay. but you can go every time you come to the presence of God, every time you seek the face of God, and it will not hold you down. It will not. I promise you. Just think about this deeply, and I'll continue on the next episode. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it blessed you. Like it, share, and subscribe if you haven't. Bye.